friends. Hey, it's Lisa from Black Women Stitch in the Stitch for These podcast, and today we are doing a burn test. We are doing a burn test. We are going to be looking at a variety of fabrics. The reason you do a burn test is because labels lie sometimes, and sometimes people lie as well. And so if you have a mystery fabric and you're not sure what the composition is, the best way to find out, if you're not sure, is to do a burn test. There are certain properties of the fabric that will be identified through burning it. It's called a burn test, but not all fabrics you see will burn. Some of them will melt, and that's essentially the basic that we're going to be talking about today. We're trying to identify synthetic fibers, and synthetic fibers will tell on themselves easily. Like the synthetic fibers like polyester, for example, which are made from like different types of petroleums. These inorganic materials don't burn. They melt, or they melt and then they burn. But there's easy ways to tell with different residue. And so in order to do this, what we're going to do is we have a tea light candle. I've put it on top of this glass thing because it's pretty. I'm also using a broiler pan tray, and sometimes you could add water to this if you want to, but I'm not going to add water. I've done a lot of practicing, and I want to show you all what the burn things look like afterwards. So rather than just looking at it and dropping it in water, which you might do, shout out to Nicole from the Asian Sewist Collective podcast, who burns hers over the sink. We are going to instead drop the burn parts right here to my left. And after we're done, then I'll take some photos to show you what this all looked like. But to get started, some other safety things, you light up the candle so you don't have to hold a lighter up. I use a hemostat because I prefer having some distance from me and the material. And I think that's pretty much it. We can go ahead and get started. We'll start with the silk. I have 4 different types of fabric here. I've got silk. I've got silk in quotes, which is SYLK, I'm calling it, also known as poly. If someone is selling you a silk for $8 a yard, it's poly. If someone's even selling you a silk for $20 a yard, it's poly. So that's what I have here, some polys. We've got rayon as well. Rayon is a natural fiber made from plant cellulose, which is the cell structure around different plants. And the plant typically that it'll come from in these cases is wood pulp. But there's other plants from which rayon is extracted. So though it looks kind of like a silk, it'll burn more like a cotton because it's a natural fiber. Similarly, we have several cottons here, and kind of a lightly colored one, fully colored one, a flannel, and then a little bit of denim. All of that is just so we can see what happens when these things are exposed to fire, which is what will reveal something unique about their properties. So we'll start with lighting this. Putting it there, to put that aside, I won't need the lighter again. And we're gonna start with the silk. Is shrinking from the fiber. It's a little hard to catch. But watch, you see how all it's doing right now is just subsuming, and it is turning into ash very quickly. So I'm going to take this piece and I'll put it right here, open up the jaws and put it there. And that way we know that this silk, as you can see, kind of burned out to ash. This is another silk piece. I must really like y'all, because I got this piece. I think this is of course, remnant prices from B&J Fabrics. Maybe I'd even be like a Poochie. But no, anything for the science of sewing, right? One of the things that you can tell that this is silk, when I remove it from the heat source, it stops burning. So they talk about silk as sometimes will self-extinguish. It's a small fluttery flame. We could try it again. Let's look at this side. See the small flame? It's like really difficult to catch. You see how I'm holding it over here? And so I think, ooh, pew, it does smell like burning hair. So what I'll do is I'm not going to burn this one all the way up. That one burned super fast. Know what to tell you about that. But this one, you can see the ashes around the edge. These are not hard beads. This is ash. So we'll sit that down there. This one is, someone said it was silk. I thought I paid silk prices, and we'll see if I did, if it is really silk. Now what we notice right away is that it's starting to curl away from the flame. So that curling is a bit of a sign, as is this crunchy bit right here along the edge. It's more melting. You see how it's curling, curling, curling? That is polyester. That's them twins. I'm taught. That's them twins, poly and ester, right there. It's crunchy. You see it's not leaving residue on my hands. It's melted. Now this is my own doggone fault. I thought this is some Versace, fake Versace fabric. Why I thought I could buy Versace fabric for $20 a yard is a delusion in my own mind. This is as much Versace as it is silk. I'm pretty sure they don't sell their fabric out in the wild. But you see what's happening here? It's melting. It's melting and it's curving in on itself. And we'll be able to compare that to the burnt piece that we had from the actual silk. The next thing, we're going to move into our rayons. This is another natural fiber. I think because it's woven a bit more widely, it tends to have a pretty dramatic flame. You can see, there we go. It wants to burn all the way. Again, it's burning. It's burning, it's ashing. You can see that it burnt down to nothing. And white smoke. Some say white smoke is a sign of organic material. I have seen some white smoke come out of some synthetics. But we know that that's a natural fiber because of what happened to it. Here's another one. A rayon challis. It's catching. It stays burning once it's lit. It smells like paper or wood, and it burns. It does not melt. That's the basic thing. Does it burn or does it melt? If it burns, it's natural. If it melts, it's a synthetic. Or if it's woven, you'll be able to, if it's blended, if it's a mix of fabrics, you'll be able to tell the synthetics because it'll melt and it will curl and it'll leave a residue. We're going to shift now to the cottons, and that'll take us into the natural fibers, and you'll be able to see there's this look, there we go, there we go. Okay, and catches quickly and extinguish until it's all out. I have parchment paper right here because I already melted some drip from one of these fabrics onto my beautiful cutting board, which will be there forever now. This is another cotton. Again, it's catching. Well, we're just gonna have to let it burn because I can't blow it out without blowing ash everywhere. And I did kind of want you to see what that looked like. Okay, so I'll open that here. And I'll do a few close-ups afterward to see the difference. This is a flannel that I was for sure was a poly. Was sure of it. Wrong. It's cotton. You see it's burning. And this burns like paper. This is like a burnt up piece of paper now. That is apparently still burning. I'm gonna put it over here away from the heat source. Ugh. Okay. And the last one is a denim. Again, here we go. Bright yellow flame, it keeps going. It doesn't melt. It leaves a soft gray ash. We can see that soft gray ash really beautifully right there. And then we'll drop that over here to the side. So that concludes our burn test. And what have we learned? We've learned that you want, if you want fabrics that are natural, one way to determine that if they are or not is if they melt. If it melts, it is not a natural fiber. If it melts, it is a synthetic fiber. This becomes useful when you're thinking about stuff for kids' sleepwear. You might have seen these different warnings about not suitable for children's sleepwear. And that's because polyester will melt and it can cause severe burns in case of a fire. I was also thinking about making, and I offered to make for my kid, my son and his friend, bathrobes, like robes to wear around. And I was gonna make it out of the Versace fabric. But my son also likes to cook. And I have a feeling if he's cooking and that robe and then like fire or splat, whatever, like you don't want people to be injured. You don't want to be injured by your own clothing. Now, there is a whole history of women in the 19th century being killed by their clothes because they had those big, big dresses and they would walk by a fire and then the fire would catch and the dress would be on fire and then someone would come to help and then their dress would be on fire. Like, we've gotten past the idea of our clothes just being able to, like, warp us in an inferno. So if you are shopping and you are at a place where there's no labels, you can ask for a swatch. You don't need a big chunk. You could take threads and do what you can to see what they do, because they'll all behave kind of similarly. So that's all we have for today. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to stay tuned and check out the Stitch Please podcast, and we'll help you get your stitch together. And from Black Women Stitch, I'm Lisa. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this has been as helpful to you as it has been fun for me. All right, see you next time.